Hey everybody, I'm here with a record called Rude by R.H.Y.6. He just released a music video for it not too long ago actually. We're going to go over production value and a breakdown within the record itself. And we're going to go over how using creativity to your fullest can make an amazing record.
Pour out the bottle, ain't worry about problem. We drink till we want to, we blue on the face. Take perk, 30s, they blue in our face. Gelati, biscotti, I blew it away. Ain't no Scotty too hot.
And then once we kind of got this piece together, I threw in a little flair with these delay throws, which I think those help the transition from that last piece of the verse into this bridge. It lets you know that you're getting into something a little different. And once again, made them huge. Through some reverb delay, like made sure that when they hit, you're feeling it. Because it goes from a little dry kind of verse piece into this huge reverby kind of breakdown. Huge. I'll play this other one. And then of course at the end we had to do the reverse reverb to give it that transition back into that final chorus. And it just makes that moment that much bigger. And then for the 2-track up here, we just threw it up top, put a filter on it. Quick 1 knob up to 5. And that just takes off that top end, so it lets these vocals breathe. I like to make Reese's vocals bright. I mean, his vocal, like his character and his texture in itself, it shines when it's bright. So in these moments, when you take out that top end of the 2-track, kind of muffle it, put it in the background, let his vocals speak, it just does magic. It's honestly amazing. Like, we work so quickly and like efficiently that in the moment I'm not kind of catching all these puzzle pieces that we're putting together, but now reflecting on it, it's amazing to see like how these little pieces can add up to such a big picture. And the crazy part is this part of the record, there's no lyrics being said. It's simply Reese doing his harmony work, letting the 2-track get its space, and just putting everything together to make a moment. It's beautiful. So Reese and I, we've been working for about 2 years now, maybe more, probably 3 at this point. But like me looking back, I feel like he's always had this signature ad-lib kind of, like signature ad-lib vibe that he's always had. I think it's recent though, I think within the last year, if that we've known that that's going to be a piece of him and who he is as an artist. So we've started characterizing that and putting that into every record. The amazing part about this character that he has, or like this ad-lib piece that he uses, is most of the time you're not even going to hear that it's there. The way we create it and the way we put it into the record, it's more of a feeling versus actually hearing it. And I'm going to play that soloed right now and you'll see what I mean. And once again, yes, it's just humming, no lyrics, no anything. It's just him creating a vibe. But when I throw it into the record itself, you'll see how subtle, but almost necessary it is at the same time.
Pour out the bottle, ain't worry about problem. We drink till we want to, we blue on the face. Take perk, 30s, they blue in our face. Gelati, biscotti, I blew it away. Ain't no Scotty too hot, I knew she would stay. I bust on her face, left her right where I lay. Guess I did what I'm supposed to. They say I'm fucked up and I'm so rude. Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm taking. Strung out, sticky and drunk in a bank.
And to be honest, I think at this point of the record is when you hear it the most and you don't even hear it that much. It's when he goes up with it, you'll hear it.
Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm taking. Strung out, sticky.
It's a slow ride. And that's kind of how we always portray this, is we want it to stick out at the right moments, but naturally. And the way we put it into the record, we let it naturally fill its pieces together.
Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm taking.
So you can hear the trail when I pause it. And let me mute those and we'll see what that sounds like.
Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm taking. Strung out, still getting drunk in the basement.
It's actually kind of crazy how it fills a space that you don't think is there. Because when it's muted, it feels like it's missing something.
Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm...
And let's throw him back in.
Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm taking. Strung out, still getting drunk in the
Oh, it's so good, man. It's like so subtle, but it still needs to be there. I want to go over the production value of the record. And honestly, every Reese record that me and him work on, a lot of the production value as far as the instrumental goes, that I owe it to him. That's a lot of his critiques and his ideas, and really like pushing me as an engineer to my boundaries as far as, you know, playing with the music, making moments out of the record, and just putting pieces together that you don't think that are there, but the way he envisions it and when it plays out the way it should, it's just like you can't not have it in the record. Like if it's not there, then it doesn't feel the same. So first little piece was obviously that beat cut in the beginning with the kick stutter at the same time.
Pour out the bottle and worry about problem. We drink till we want to, we blue on the face. Take perk, 30s, they blue in our face. Gelati biscotti, I blew.
Which we went over earlier, and without that, it wouldn't even feel the same. You feel like you're in the middle of the record on that one. And then there's a little beat cut right here. What is that, 48?
What I'm supposed to. They say I'm fucked up and I'm so rude. Don't try to tell me how I should come.
And I think when we made this cut, at this point, he knew the record was going to be called Rude. So he used that to his advantage. He said, let's cut here, make it that moment. You're hearing Rude, and obviously the record's called Rude.
What I'm supposed to. They say I'm fucked up and I'm so rude. Don't try to tell me how I should come deal with the problems I make. Knowing all of the risks that I'm taking. Strung out, still getting drunk in the basement.
Reese and I love using Verify, and something that he kind of put me onto was I would always zip out, like all day, every day. Zip out, put a space, let the beat come back in. Something that me and him played with, and it's worked so well, is zipping in and immediately zipping out. Or zipping out and immediately zipping back in with no space in between. It's a very DJ cut kind of thing, and it works well.
Ain't fuck with me, then I would down, but I got it. 2 grams, I let my down, get your hand on my pack. Ain't fuck with me, then I would down, but I got it. 2 grams, I let my blood for my prop.
And it just lets it breathe for 1 second. It's not like it's overdone. There's not too much space or anything. It just in and out.
Ain't fuck with me, then I would down, but I got it. 2 grams, I let my back. Ain't fuck with bitch, sit on down, get your hand on my pack. Ain't fuck with me, then I would down, but I got it. 2 grams, I let my blood for my.
And honestly, I believe we chose this space so well because the beat itself breaks down, and then once that kick comes back in, we wanted to have a moment right before that. Makes it feel bigger.
Down, but I got it. 2 grams, I let my blood for my prop. Give a fuck about the advice, ain't no way you can solve it. How work without
beautiful. The final production value was putting that 2-track up into the filter, giving that bridge its space.
That's Smith and Wesson on my hip, making everything better. We drink till we want to, we blue on the face.
And obviously with the Verify coming out, but do you see how big it makes that final chorus feel? It's literally the same setup as the beginning. It gives it that bigger feel just on the production value of it. Since creating this record, my mixing style has changed slightly. At this time, I would send all vocals to 1 aux and work the vocals down into that 1 aux. And the way I would separate the chorus and the verse is usually I would throw on different reverbs and delays per chorus and per verse, just to give them their own feel and vibe, even though everything's going to the same aux and getting treated the same as well. But ironically, on this record, I think we must have been moving so fast, or honestly, like, the way Reese works is sometimes I won't even kill the creative process to figure out structure, and I'll just lay with him. And if it sounds good at the end, instead of separating things, then we'll let it breathe. And in this case, we let that happen. It worked out well. Visually, you can't tell there's a chorus and a verse. But I think sonically, obviously us working on the record, we know how it's laid out. Sonically, you can't really tell that they're going to the same place and being treated exactly the same. Ironically, though, we did separate the intro and outro vocals to give it a different vibe. So a good example of that different reverbs is this top guy. default vintage verb. That's on the intro pieces and the outro. And then this guy right here is the whole song reverb, which does include the chorus and verse at this time because I wasn't separating back then. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you picked up on some nice techniques. Obviously, we didn't go through the entire record, you know, we didn't even go over any mixing techniques or anything like that. If it is something you do want to see, leave a comment down below. We'll put a video together and go over certain things. I'm going to rely heavily on feedback from you guys. I'm just picking key points and not trying to get too technical within things and let the questions and everything come in, and then we'll answer those as we go. But I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
Got caught in the rain, couldn't find umbrella. Ain't need no protection to storm all the weather. I'm dodging lightning, toting metal. That Smith & Wesson on my hip, making everything better.